Hi, I'm Pastor Jenny Sung here with...
I'm intern Pastor Carolyn Keenan.
And I'm so excited because today we're going to be talking about so many incredible things,
Yeah.
including fruit.
Yeah, that's true. That is there.
Fruit. And so before we even dive into it, I need to know what fruits do you like, what fruits don't you like?
Okay, I'm super old school. My favorite fruit is apples. I do love apples, you know.
Apples.
I think I was a teacher, so I think that plays into that stereotype there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
apples. Are there any fruits you don't like?
You know those, I'm forgetting what it's called, you cut it open and it's got all of the red, like, ones that you have to dish out, you know what I'm talking about?
Watermelon?
No, that's delightful.
The red ones you cut open. Pomegranates?
Yes,
There we go.
I don't like
You don't like
pomegranates.
pomegranates? Oh.
No.
Well, now that we're so close, I feel the
know.
need to tell you something. I'm not really Pastor John's son.
Oh my gosh, who have I been sharing an office with all this time?
It's me, Josh Carlson.
Okay, so good to know.
It's good. Yeah, I didn't want you to say anything about me to Pastor Jenny, not knowing it was really me. I was in Slovakia once, and so I hate watermelon. But they had, with a fiery passion of fire. But they had this big 4th of July party, and they invited all the Americans
In
up
Slovakia?
to,
Okay.
because all the Americans were there, and they wanted us to have a watermelon eating contest.
All right, rock on.
I shoved my face with so much watermelon just because I felt like, oh, I have to. I got so sick afterwards.
Ooh.
I didn't like watermelon to begin with. Now the smell of it, I just think about spitting out mouthfuls of seed. Ugh.
Now that makes me feel kind of sick.
I almost forgot we were filming. Sorry. Hey, how's everybody doing? Good. I'm glad. So what are we talking about tonight?
All right, so you all know this story. We've got 3 characters, Adam, Eve, and the serpent. And of course, God. You know, God comes into that story too.
Yeah.
But God's like always there, so.
So when you say serpent, when I always picture it, I picture a snake. Does it say snake in there?
You know, let's find out, shall we?
Dun, dun, dun.
Pick up the Bible. Right
Oh, you were
here.
opened right to it. How convenient.
I am. And they're having this conversation, right? And it's the most intelligent of the wild animals. And it does say snake.
Oh,
But
really?
it depends on your translation, really. It might say serpent.
I did not know that. The more you know. And is it an apple in the story? Or
You
am I
know-
jumping too far ahead?
No,
Should I
you're
slow
good.
down?
It just says fruit.
Really?
Yes, but artists like to put an apple.
Is it because of teachers?
I don't know.
Do artists really hate teachers? And they're
I
like,
think
bet
it's
this
just
was
a
teacher.
pretty thing to
Okay.
draw. You know, that red, it pops.
Not like a watermelon. A
I'm
watermelon
not sure.
hanging
That'd
from
be
a tree. That would
really
scare
awkward.
people. Yeah. So tell us more about the story now that we've explained some stuff.
Yeah, so there's this interesting moment where everybody tends to think that it's just this Eve moment where somehow she's tempted and she takes the fruit and everything. But what people don't tend to realize is that Adam's standing there the whole time. So Eve has this great argument with the snake, the serpent, and it's this deep theological discussion. And Adam just kind of stands there and listens and just hanging out. And when she says, yeah, you try it too, he's just like, okay. So it's a very different story than I think what we're often presented with. And so it's the start of everything, right? It's the start of our disruption in our relationships with other people, with creation, and of course with God, because then God comes looking for them. And it's this great moment of in the evening, in the night breezes, you know, like God wants to come feel the night breezes in like spring or summer, you know, when you like to take those walks in the sunset. It's like God wants to take a walk in the sunset in his garden and with his people, only to find out that this is what has happened. So that brokenness in those relationships.
So the theme being broken, are we focusing on that tonight? Brokenness in relationships, our broken relationships?
Yeah, so immediately when God asks what has happened, Adam turns to Eve and says, it's her fault.
She done
And
it.
Eve turns to the serpent and says, it's his fault. And God says, it's all y'all's fault. And you will all suffer the consequences of what you have done here. So it ends up with a broken world, broken creation, broken relationships between people, creation, and God. And how do we move forward from that with our loving God?
So, is it safe to eat apples today?
Yeah, I do it all the time. I think you're fine.
Okay. Now, if everybody were to stop eating apples, would we go back to the garden? Like, this could be a thing.
That would be really sad. I'd have a hard time. There's apple pie, apple crumble. I mean, so much goodness. I would be the one that would break that.
You would end it for all of us. All of humanity is done because
we just
of Carolyn
would never
Keener.
get there because of me.
All
It's
right,
just
well,
a thing.
if it's worth it, it's worth it. So there we go. All right, well, I'm super excited. I know they're excited. You just look, you can see all their faces right now. They're
So excited to see you all.
He's real excited. All right, thank you.
Yes.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
See y'all.